on the map, make some space for the team, and that's not usually done with kills. That's usually done with you being beefier if you're a hero like Kunkka.
Yeah.
And then we were like, what? You can't buy armlet. Say, hey, you don't want to rush a BKB. That feels bad. You don't want to
Halberd.
Halberd.
What
It's
are you
like,
supposed to
okay, and then
disarm?
you still die to AA. It's like, well, I guess it makes sense he bought an Orchid, but that's not what you're supposed to be feeling with your 9th pick Kunkka.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They really don't have much time to figure it out.
They don't.
Really are up against the wall here, but the next series is completely off the wall. Very excited for this next one. It's going to be Team NIGMA going up against Vici, and these are the top dogs. And not only are they the top dogs, they're the top dogs coming out of the wild card. You don't want to go anywhere. Who is going to be the top of the top? We're going to be finding out right after this.
12 teams ranked by the DPC point.
Playing team to like surround the map, which I think is going to be a big one.
The Treants, the Ios, the Winter Wyverns, all these heroes that can buy Holy Rock Enchantress, going beyond Godlike. I think we were together on the panel for that game, just doing extremely well. But last night, for their last series, they had a hiccup. They lost both games in the last series versus TNC. It didn't look that great. They were making some crucial mistakes across the map. One game, you can blame it on the outdraft, but the other game, really, it was pretty much down to how they played. A couple of pickoffs on Miracle, a couple of pickoffs on the Ursa LTW, and the game's gone.
Yeah, and an important one as well. I mean, if they were able to take that down, it becomes pretty tough to be actually topping them in these groups. So one hiccup that they did have in that series, but beyond that, I think what Fogg said, it has been one of the more interesting things with watching Team NIGMA. They are just going on this tear, picking up momentum, even in that entire wild card stage into the group stage. You just feel like their trajectory truly is straight up to the moon. But with Vici, how have you felt about this squad?
Vici, I actually predicted them as the wildcard favorites.
Yep.
Vici and NIGMA. Most of us did, right? Like, we expected these two teams to come out. However, they haven't really proven themselves to me as this powerhouse that I expected them to be from the Chinese region. I even predicted them as the winners of the major, but my faith in them has been a little bit shaken through the group stages, through the wildcard. When you look at their series, they're all 1-1, most of them at least. They're just evening out every single game, and that's mostly because partly drafts, partly Hoyoyo, Ori. I expect more from them.
Yeah.
Ori was popping off in the second season. This guy was back on, like, Ori, when you talk about this guy, you think that, all right, this guy should pop off. In first season, he wasn't. He was just completely stable. Your classic run-of-the-mill mid laner. However, in the second season, he was just dominating.
We are.
Let's go.
Thick of
That was quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get the DK again, the Enchantress as we mentioned, looking at the bans, the Eye on the Mars. I think everyone's going to start doing those bans. I want to see those GH bans coming out from Vici. I think that's what TNC identified is ban all the supports. Just don't let GH play his game because he's been instrumental.
The problem is, yeah, you did ban out the Eye on the Mars, but instantly DK pick up. And they've even yesterday at least they've done better with the DK than with the Mars because they had 100% win rate with Mars. They no longer hold that as they lost the game, but with DK they're looking still as strong. They combo it the same way, like DK on offlane, Invoker on that mid lane, and then you give LTW some Void or something similar that can just fight constantly.
I like it too because Vici, they love their Nyx. They just absolutely do. And DK's always been a playstyle versus Nyx that does do well because you group up. Nyx is about going around the map looking for pickoffs mostly. Still able to team fight, but DK is going to be one that just makes your team group up and go. And Nyx, he does not like playing that versus too much. But Vici, this is their bread and butter. This is the old 11 Doom who farms like an animal. If it gets to late game, you lose. You're just going to lose the game, and they have the Nyx assassin to always hunt with him too. So
you just disable 2 of your heroes. You're -2 at the beginning of the fight, and sometimes if you give them that Grimstroke, it can be even -3 if he gets Refresher and Soulbind with the Doom. So it can be really difficult to play against that Doom. But we have seen that Doom suffer a couple of times yesterday to some combinations like Enchantress plus Monkey King and whatnot, and then he's just completely out of the game. Teams in the CN region have tried the Lifestealer too. Like you go with that Lifestealer on the safe lane. Historically good matchup versus Doom, however, it never worked. Like, out of all the series that I watched, Lifestealer, yeah, you win the lane, but later on you just get doomed and you can't do shit.
I want killer heroes. That's why I see this Ursa ban, I see like the Wraith King ban, I'm like, damn it, you know, that's what I think like NIGMA would want, because you want to, I saw yesterday, like EG's playing this Void versus Doom, and it doesn't feel good. You're getting farm as your Void, but you're giving old 11 exactly what he wants. He's able to just free farm, so I want killers in that bottom lane with the Enchantress.
Do you agree that these two teams coming from completely different regions look the most alike? And when it comes to drafts as well, when it comes to the way they play,
that is a really interesting idea.
They have very similar playstyle, very similar hero pools as well. The playstyle is so similar that you can expect them converging around the tier 1s, minute 6,
that's
10. Both of these teams will do the same thing.
That is a really interesting idea, because I think one of the coolest things with this particular major is that idea of where are we going to see the blending of ideas, because yes,
10 seconds remaining.
These two teams, they played against each other in the wild card, so maybe there was a blending of ideas
5
there
seconds remaining.
But with the groups, we're just starting to get that kind of hodgepodge of all the different regions playing against each other.
Can I just expand on this? Look at the bans. Banned out Wraith King and Ursa. Meanwhile, Team NIGMA banned out Spectre and Void. Like, this is what they want to pick.
Yeah.
But they also know that Vici Gaming likes it as well, so you have to get rid of it.
Oh, that's a big change up here. We're not seeing too often because he's good. He's supposed to be good, but he just feels really bad in most games.
Is it the Dragonite Breedfire plus Fade Bolt? You can't last it anything because you don't have damage in the lane? Is that what it is?
It is interesting, but now it's a support that literally just dies to Nyx Assassin by himself.
It's so funny. I've only heard people, like analysts, talk about Fog talking about this hero. This is the first time I'm actually hearing you talk about the hero.
Because I love Rubik, but for some reason you're like, his toolkit's good, but he just feels bad because he's not the same as most 4s right now, where most of these 4s, they dominate the lane. They're able to put crazy pressure. Rubik, you're just getting some kind of trade.
Perhaps Nyx, right?
It's true.
The lanes, if Nick, maybe they'll actually lane it.
5 seconds remaining.
Grimstroke plus Dome on the offlane, and then Nyx on the safe lane. As he can be 4, he can be 5, as long as he's playing on that safe lane with something that's ranged. I don't know what you could pick here versus TB. There are options.
Most of Poyoyos that he's played are taken out, or they stole the TB that he has played a few times too. The Rubik Rubik looks good here. It's versus Grimstroke, so in lane, you see the Inkswell combination, you can lift, throw the hero away, you get great spell steals. Yeah, they picked it into him too, so I do feel like this one looks like a good Rubik game, but that's what I feel like we always say. It's like there's so many good spells, but he never ends up getting anything.
I actually don't like the Grimstroke into Enchantress that much, as you have that Dispel instantly for the Inkswell and whatever, and the lane itself, if Grimstroke is laning with the Doom, isn't easy versus Enchantress. She's actually pretty solid there.
Yeah, definitely feels like the Grimstroke is kind of picked into counters.
Do go into some mid lane now. Ember, Zeus, these kind of heroes versus the Terrorblade. Some massive magic damage that comes from the backlines.
I like the Ember. Yeah, I think that one works out really nicely. You don't know your mid matchup though, so that can be a bit scary just picking it up right here. So perhaps they do just go for that carry. I'm trying to think, you know, Poyoyo is very banned out right now.
You go with the Void Spirits.
Okay, similar concept. High magic burst, he utilizes Inkswell really nicely.
Can go into something like a Vessel as well versus the Dragonite, helping you out like that. He's a tank breaker, so it's nice.
You one-shot Rubik. If Rubik gets seen in the fight, he's just dead.
You have Nyx now. You have Void Spirit as well. GH,
5 seconds
he's
remaining.
one of the top Rubiks in the world, but it's not going to be an easy game for him.
You know, I think it was Fog, before we even jumped in the draft, was putting a lot of spotlight on GH, which is totally understandable. I think, you know, if you were just to end the tournament right now and you had to pick an MVP, he would definitely be the top of that list. Do you feel like there is a parallel for Vici right now, someone that you're looking at headed into this game, put the spotlight on?
Lately, for me, it's been the supports, but Old 11's just been popping off, so I probably have to say him.
Yeah, for Vici Gaming, throughout this season as well, PYW and DY, they're the ones that do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Like Ori, one game he pops off, the other game he goes 0-4 in the lane, and then they have to rotate and literally bring him back to life. So, and they did that really, really well throughout the season. Here, I completely agree, Old 11 has been on point, but it's also Old 11. This guy is volatile, let's put it that way. One game, he's gonna carry you. Next game,
turn to pick.
it's not gonna look that great.
No, definitely not. They banned out like all the carries. All the Poyoyo heroes that are good versus Terrorblade. What's left?
I'm trying to figure it out, and I don't see anything really.
I need like a hero list,
There is something completely out of left field. Draw Ranger that has been picked versus TB as well.
5 seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
Could see it. They go with the jug. Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the jug?
So it's nice because now you can always utilize the Inkswell. It can't get dispelled because you're spinning. You can't get lifted and pushed away either. You can play very aggressive in the lane, and it's hardcore magic damage. So something DK can get punished by in the lane. So I think
10 seconds remaining.
that's pretty good.
Do you like the jug though? That's the question.
5
Overall, as a
seconds
hero?
remaining.
Exactly.
Not
really,
the
right?
most, no.
That's my same sentiment. The same feeling I share for Rubik is for jug. Like, okay, it looks good in this certain circumstance, but I don't like the hero that much, and I'd rather have a 4 that I dislike than a 1 that I dislike.
What, like, when you say dislike, is it a caveat thing or just overall place? What is it that makes you not like it?
Honestly, in my personal experience, the hero just doesn't match up versus many cores at the moment. I've seen him even lose matchups that should be auto wins for him historically, like playing versus Luna. I've seen him not do well, and because of that, my faith in the hero itself has been shaken. It's same like Beastmaster we had yesterday. I harped on to this hero mid lane. It just doesn't work. It's been nerfed, yeah, but I also witnessed so many games in which the hero doesn't work. So
Yeah. Do you think they can fight back though with this hero? I was a little worried about the fight back from Vici when NIGMA does go for that group up.
they have sustain now.
I actually think they can, yeah. There's an illusion that can always run in and snipe your healing ward. There's a creep from an enchantress that can kill your healing ward that could be problematic in the fights, but kind of liking what Vici's got.
PYW rushing that axe, perhaps some Grimstroke too might be good if he's a 4.
Keep in mind too, Vici is warmed up right now. We obviously got like very quickly into the draft, but if you're just tuning in, if you're a Team NIGMA fan, you're just tuning in, the Vici fans have probably been here for a little while because they already did play one series today and they were able to grab those 2 wins very swiftly. So
That was versus Beast Ghost, right?
Yes, it was
And the
Selecting heroes.
Razor.
Damn.
Are you liking the Razor, Lizard?
How do you want to lane this? When you're Team NIGMA, you have so many options right now. It looks good. Looks really damn good. You can just follow this jug around. The mid lane versus Void Spirits should be pretty solid too. Has to be a little bit careful when it comes to these mid-game initiations from Nyx that's Inkswelled, and you just get blown up if you go for the Travels route, which you most likely will do. I like it.
One of the things that you both brought up is just the parallels between these two squads. Liz brought it up with different things that we've seen in Heroes, but also that overall concept of just early collapse. And these being the two squads who are doing it so perfectly and honestly in a very telegraphed way. How do you think with these two drafts, the matchup really is going to go?
I think Vici's going to be able to fight back versus that collapse pretty nicely because this Jug. He's one of those carry heroes that can get involved early to be able to fight back, and he's got it's a weird core matchup versus T-Bib. You can play around Sunder. You're vulnerable during Omni / you're spinning. He can't go for Sunders either.
Agonists as well. You have double Doom, triple Doom with the refresher eventually.
And they can get the TB, as you mentioned. If they go for greedy on the Grimstroke, he can get an Agonims. They're going to have a TB that's just beating the crap out of Enigma too. I think I like Vici's a little bit more here. I just like the biggest reason is because there's a Rubik. I think that's the one that just always pulls my attention.
So I completely agree with him on this point. However, what NIGMA have got going for themselves is this snowball effect. You have Razor DK. There's just this power spike from 8-minute to 15-minute in which if they take tier 1 top, they can just snowball the map and close it out for Jug to find anything.
All right, well, set your watches for that 8-minute to 15-minute mark. We'll see if Team NIGMA is going to be able to get the power spike. Either way, Team NIGMA versus Vici, the two squads that made it out of the wild card, trying to figure who the top dog in the groups truly is going to be.
Prepare for battle.
458có đài bắt ở đây không 458 đài bắt rồi 458 có đài bắt ở đây không 458 đài bắt rồi
Yeah, Rich picking up some of the lingo there. Your favourite word, power spike Lacoste. I mean, NIGMA, yeah, looking for that kind of 10-minute period, the catapult waves in particular, whereas the team fight from Vici Gaming, the execution around soulbinds, the double dooms and things like that looks really scary.
Yeah, their team fight looks really good. It's a bit cooldown dependent, but at least you have a mid laner who can pretty much keep fighting all the time. This is their bread and butter, position
Great
4
start.
and 5, Inksol, plus, you know, Next Assassin. This
That
is their...
reflection.
Whoa, a reflection level 1 is such a strong spell.
We'll get first blood on POW. How's Vici Gaming coming here to try and get the sneaky first blood kill, but they're likely going to lose 2 heroes. Kuroki gets in front of DY, slips ahead of the Grimstroke, and a second kill coming. Ooh, the body block stop for the right finish.
Classic GX right there.
Secure.
Maybe the hero's not the strongest in terms of laning, but hero is one of the best to kill steal with.
Absolutely is. Look at his build there. Circlet with branches. Stand for a lot of stats, absolutely, in that early laning stage. As we'll see, Mind Control getting away from old 11. Kuroki and Ori getting a rune apiece, so we should get the 2 for 2 there as PYW takes the last one. And of course, Scriff, our observer for today, doing a spectacular job.
As always, Fog, you know, I know he doesn't like that Rubik pick at all. I've seen so many games with Rubik that he just, like, Hero just loses. Right now he's 2 wins out of 5 games, so he's not as bad as I thought during the season 2. His win percentage in China and Southeast Asia was around 20%, which was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough. I mean, especially when you compare him to the Lion, the Shadow Shaman, these are other instant disables. And Telekinesis does offer you that against the Nyx Assassin without damaging through Carapace. But we do rely on these big steals from GH. The Steal of the Doom, the Spin. Any of Nyx's spells are pretty good as well. We'll see what he gets up to in the latter stages of the game. But of course, as you were mentioning the potential for tri-laning here from NIGMA, we're actually seeing it from Vici Gaming. And it does leave Doom alone top though. Old 11 closed in on by GA.
A good body block.
Again, just getting in front of that target, giving him the punches. Mind Control coming in with a stun and a kill. Like, get the Doom.
And bottom lane is, you know, not going too well. Terrorblade sitting at 1 CS, the potential tri-lane. They didn't block the big camp. This is very surprising. So Kuroki gets the best creep you can get at level 1. Setter with the extra regeneration and with the shockwave.
And still with that level 1 reflection against the tri-lane, right? Getting tons of value out of it. Chipping away at Poyo. PYW and DY were kind of wondering what they're meant to do, where their home is. Could we go hunt the Enchantress? No, she's hiding in the trees. And that top lane getting pushed incredibly hard already. It's not even 2 minutes in yet, and they've done damage to the tier 1 safe lane.
A bit of a chip damage, mid lane. No points in Dissimulate.
Interesting. Usually we see that to try and get away from the link.
From the link. Yeah, exactly.
Spin bottom. RTW this time are taking the brunt of the aggression. Vici get their spells towards the TB. And that's the strength of the tri-lane finally coming to fruition.
I wouldn't mind if I see Rubik rotating to the bottom in the next like 30 seconds, up to a minute. Maybe they try to go for one more kill on 11. Love the build on mind control. That stun, it got bugged. Before that was 50 damage, or was it? No, I believe it was 25. It was 25 damage level 1, and then you have reduction, so it deals 20 damage. Literally out regioning it.
Yeah. Pretty pathetic amount of damage. Now it's a bit more. And Dragon Blood going to give him that sustain as well in the lane. Comes down bottom. Wave pushes in towards the Dire side. No way here for Kuro to really go back and pull, trying to keep the aggression onto them.
Kuro even gets a Setter Banisher, so they will have another way of dispelling the Ink Swell. He might even get a kill. Like, if he gets close, the cast range on the Purge is a bit like you need to stand close, and yeah, that's gonna be a kill. Fairy Fire available.
Ring around the rosy. Where are you? DUI cuts down all the trees. And that impetus shot will land, almost. Denied himself to the ancient camp, of course. And does leave RTW in a tough spot, though. Still 1v2 down bottom lane, and CS-wise, 8-1, having a few struggles, but they're picking up a lot more in these other lanes. 17-7, 18-8, the denies are stacking up for NIGMA against the other two lanes here against Vici Gaming.
I actually like what they're doing. They are giving a free lane to Mind Control. Mind Control lately has been really popping off, and when he gets a good timing on a Blink Dagger, there's the stun.
Again onto old 11, yeah.
Lift available, but the Fate Bolt still not there. So yeah, allowing Mind Control to pop off this game and allowing Miracle to have a good game just with the lane setup. TB, he can recover, Two deaths doesn't matter too much. All he needs is levels, then he can go to the jungle and get some farms.
It's the same concept we were talking about earlier on today, right? The fact that you put emphasis on your early laning stage for the heroes that will give you a good mid-game.
Middle tower
Blade, Nargissar, Spectre, whoever these hard carries are, they'll go back to jungle if they're old 11. He's about to die, cuts through the trees of the Scorched Earth, running back, but GH finding yet another kill for NIGMA in that top lane.
Old 11, the way he started, it might be 0-11. TB just jungling right now. TB is like, screw that bottom lane, I'm not coming back until I have a Sunder or unless I have two supports with me.
Yeah, not even a single point in Metamorphosis either. 1-2-0 build at level 3. So they are putting a lot, like you say, a lot of thought into how these lanes go, give Miracle and Mind Control that mid-game tempo that they need, and then rely on RTW later on in the game, as they'll give him the triangle in the jungle to play around with. Carapace and stun there onto Miracle's Razor. PYW trying to move, unable to successfully get a kill, but it does alleviate a bit of pressure onto the Void Spirit now and let him catch up a little bit with the CS, while Kuro down at bottom, spun upon is a speedy little Bambi, snipes a courier before dying. Get something out of it. Windlace and Sentry Ward down the drain.
Someone needs to be bottom. Someone needs to collect the XP, so if they get a kill, it's okay. If lane is gonna push, you still don't have that best hero that can collect the XP as a position 5. It's not Vibrant, it's not Treant, but at least he has boots of speed, so could be potentially outrunning things. Well, maybe not. Poyoyo has phase boot, so it's gonna be pretty hard, as also Inkswell on top of this. Something the panel discussed. He uses a spin, can't dispel it anymore with the Enchantress, so you need to be very careful about that one as well.
DY hunting the TV illusions. Finds RTW. Doesn't get any kind of kill there. There was Miracle into the Remnant, but looks like the rune has spawned top. And Arcane with a capital wave pushing in, meaning Ori and PYW unable to get towards the rune spot. And Miracle's diving here. Carapace, the stun, the damage back. PYW still fine. Ori getting turned on. He's got a Resonant Pulse. Damage block going, and a good catch up the Razor, but he's still backing.
Big charges.
They've got so many heroes here as Kuro's made a rotation to meet. The stomp after the spin. Poyo caught out and killed. Kuro with a double, and Miracle with that third one.
This is going to be a free tower, and meanwhile on the top lane, Dragonite will get a level 6. Unfortunately, Catapult died, so he can't put that much pressure. 11 still level 5, which means that they can't make a rotation on the Dragonite. He's too tanky. The Dragon Blood, and then going into Blink Dagger, which we assume he's going to go for. That instant initiation, and they're putting off a lot of pressure from their Terrorblade right now. Still in the jungle, as where he should be.
That's where he belongs right now, but it's like Lizard was saying, right? I think he said 8 to 15 minutes. NIGMA, cranking that up, and it's basically 6 minutes onwards. They're pushing these towers, looking for that aggression.
This is how NIGMA has been playing. Break numbers to the mid lane, PYW. You can't really run away from this one. Razor will outrun him. Full damage, static link.
Killing spree for Razorbot top lane. It doesn't stop. Old 11 found out by my control here with a breathe fire and another tier 1 as NIGMA collapse onto these objectives.
Vici Gaming, they need to play the bottom part of the map, go with that catapult, kill the tier 1 tower, get something out of the map. Both supports are... Oh man, PYW only level 3. I thought he's also level 4.
No, it's been a real sad time for these supports on Vici Gaming side.
Structures are fortified.
Bottom lane glyphed up there. They've got a catapult wave that DY will try and keep alive. So Ponyo can come back in and a bit of a response from Vici to get themselves an objective.
Stacks are being made in the jungle, so LTW can recover. Also some double bounty rune picked up by GH.
Very nice. Stacks also on the dire side though, of course. Large cap and ancients. As Old 11 still looking for that hand of Midas. But what kind of timing do we usually see on the Midas from Doom? Like phase boots into Midas?
Yeah, that's usually the build, because you can easily clear the stacks with the Scorched Earth. Right now, they seem to be having the problems. Who wants to get the last hit? Both of the heroes want to recover.
Everybody wants to recover, yeah. I mean,
I think in this situation, you ask the original guy who stacked, like, who did you make it for?
Give the decision to them. Well, the level 4 Nyx Assassin hides away in the trees. The fake out TP there from the Grimstroke does force them back. But look at this smoke. Miracle and GH. That bottom lane. A spot Poyo, but he's already spun TP'd. A steal on the spin, and speaking of item timings, you know, this Doom is definitely behind, whereas Mind Control's DK has a blink dagger already. You got Tread's blink at 9 minutes.
Bottom tower is under attack.
What seems very popular in China,
he's got blink, right?
Yeah, that's a blink dagger on top of the power treads and the casual bracer.
Ah, some bonkers timings. 10-3, 4K lead at 9 minutes.
So yeah, something that I've seen in Southeast Asia and China, the Tricore that really scales, and they become like super tanky. They cannot be killed. Like this Razor, if you go for the items that makes you more tanky, like you get power charge. Look at him, infused raindrops, a magic wand, like 1 raid band, and now going into SNY and BKB. The damage output from Vici Gaming is not gonna be enough. Both supports under level. You need level 6 on both of these to be able to take a fight.
Impetus shot lands in from Kuro. The trade out as PYW is nearly found. They want Ori instead. Miracle hunting for the Void Spirit, but he's salved up as GH stunned in the back. Impetus hit up to high ground. Not quite enough to finish them, but a double for Miracle nonetheless as he finds DY.
NIGMA so aggressive, going in, getting multiple kills one more time, while Terrorblade is back into the jungle, continues to farm up.
Wait, is that still a win gold-wise? Yeah. Still get a lot of money for killing off that DK.
Middle tower is under attack.
Well, he's super farmed and also level 8.5, 10 minutes in, so no surprise there. 5k gold for NIGMA already. Oh no, Poyo, he's going for Battle Fury.
Not a fan?
Not a fan. That's definitely not the item that no one was buying after the nerfs. Like, you want to come online a bit earlier. Maybe the reasoning here is if we can somehow drag the game, I will have a farming tool and I will be able to catch up, especially against the TB, against the illusions. It will give me cleave.
And with a Doom on your team as well. I guess you're looking for that later timing anyway with a Devour Midas.
I've seen Dooms carrying the games even when their team is 5, 10k gold behind. One good execution with Grimstroke can make a big turnaround play. Their catch potential is great, which also something that you need to have when you have Doom in the team. Void Spirit jumping in, closing the gap. Nyx Assassin with a stun, the leash mechanic on top of it. Right now, PYW as Nyx. 2-1-2 build. I would prefer if he puts more points in the Spike Carapace now.
Yeah. Go back into mana burn. Good jump onto DY. Oh, out in the open. Oh! The trouble wanted. The neutral creep takes out the Grimstroke and a good TP home from the rest of Vici Gaming.
Dire's bottom tower.
Still, it's pressure from NIGMA onto these towers. Claim up that easy gold on the map. Well, Vici Gaming are the ones that are, of course, like you say, trying to catch up in the meanwhile.
ILTW,
Radiant's
after
middle
dying
tower
twice,
is under
did not
attack.
pretty much show on the map. He showed on the mid lane
Dire's bottom
and now
tower
understands his
has
map
fallen.
reading is really good. He understands something's cooking at the top part of the map, instantly goes back. They have a ward on the
Dire's
high ground
bottom
as well.
tower is under attack.
And still on to
Dire's
simulate there. Nice
structures
green
are
circles from
fortified.
GH.
Thank you for
Radiant
having Arcana so
structures
that
are
it shows its green. It makes our job easier.
I appreciate it for sure. It seems Mind Control has a pretty good idea of where the Grimstroke is. They've also got eyes on this Nyx Assassin.
Radiant's top
Gets off the
tower is under
carapace.
attack.
MC has Blink Stun. They don't really have the rest of the team close enough by. Still looking for that jump though.
This is the build that I've seen from Mind Control when he played Dragonite. Instead of going for multiple points in Breathe Fire, decided to max out Dragon Tail. It's damage, like it got buffed and the stun duration is 325.
That's pretty good. When you get the catch onto someone, I mean the Soul Bind and
Double Doom.
PYW, the Double Doom is it coming? They've got the lift up, drag back. Gold 11 can't get the spell
Not a
off.
single Doom.
Doesn't get it, Doom out there and now PYW stuck in the trees, giving yet another kill.
That
Over
was
to
a
Miracle.
nice play from GH. Instant lift. He
Radiant's
sees Doom
top tower
TPing
is under
to break the
attack.
combo. Even if he gets it off, I still don't think they would be able to win a fight. Right now, the 3 cores extremely tanky. Mind Control.
Cheeky little devil, aren't you?
Is under attack.
He's there toying with them, spin on spin, pirouetting around. It's a ballerina.
Even with having the Tinker Ward, VG Gaming still cannot take the fight. They have a better vision, but NIGMA also has vision.
Isn't it high ground?
They're actually doing it, Gary.
Team NIGMA. Lizard called it pretty much perfectly. The tempo, the snowball they've built up from 6 minutes until now 14. They're on high ground, breaking tier 3s against VG Gaming. Are they going to finish this off? There's no cliff. There's nothing to stop them.
Creep wave approaching. So yeah,
Off
they're
the
gonna
Radiant's
stay.
barrier has been
Tower
killed.
down. Right, NIGMA. Now thinking about the rock. Get stuck. They get the jump immediately. Blowing through Poyo.
Oh, this is just
You
a
can't buy
disaster.
back. You can't buy back 14 minutes in as a juggernaut.
No, no way. Yeah, you might actually have to tank it right now. A Dragonite hitting both barracks, the efficiency left and right.
That's
So
like
the
where-
overtime damage.
Where's RTW? Oh look, oh yeah, you push barracks. Good job, team. I'm here to clean up.
This might be the fastest barracks of the tournament.
Of the
14
DPC.
minutes in.
15-minute raxing by NIGMA. I mean, that's a real strong signal of intent from them this game. Top of the net worth, that Razor, 9,500. And they've drawn a big circle around that top portion of the map. Take the dire jungle, control Roshan. That should help. Right now, just pushing in constantly. They've got a blink stun catch. They found Ori's Void Spirit, the lift up, and the damage not quite enough to blow him up, but they've still got these astral steps to disengage.
They see all these greedy items. Hand of Midas, Battle Fury, Jug. So they know that there's no damage coming out. So far, we have not seen the combo being
Radiant
executed by
are
VG Gaming.
standing.
No Doom at all being used. They have a catapult on them. That's an easy tier 2 tower. Hiroki also trying to find some crimp. Maybe an Alpha Wolf to increase the damage. There we go. He found it. I just have to call him.
Dire's middle tower is under
He
attack.
finds what he needs. Yeah, that Holy Lock as well, plenty of charges on it. So if they do get caught out with a Soul Blind Doom, they've got a nice jump there with a double Doom onto DK and the Razor. NIGMA caught a little off guard there, but they've got the heals, the Holy Lock, it buys time for Mind Control to back up to the high ground.
Out regioning it.
Still there on the Razor and the streak is gone. RTW with the Metamorphosis, and he stunned him. They stunned him up. He's got a turnaround play though, and RTW batters into Poyo. PYW now being right-clicked down the rain of hellfire from that Terrorblade as they only lose Razor.
GG.
GG's called.
16 minutes in.
16-25. Oh, the writing's on the wall there in VG Gaming.
Wow, what a performance by
Stomped into the
NIGMA.
ground.
They executed the combo, at least one time to see what it actually does. It was double Doom, nicely done, but Mind Control actually
so
out-regions it. Well, I think every team should be happy if you beat VG Gaming in 16 minutes.
Face there, really just lighting up, fist bumps all around, beautiful. Really, really like spectacular performance there from NIGMA, draft-wise, tempo-wise, everything slotted into place. It was really beautiful stuff. I mean, the panel had no idea this was coming. They're not ready yet.
Well, we did not see that. Lizard did call it. Give him a little bit of credit there, but running back over to the panel, I'm pretty sure that took us longer than that whole game took.
Picture perfect gameplay from NIGMA. Early game lineup, everything worked out perfect, and everything did not work out perfect for Vici. They crumbled.
They really did, 15-minute racks? I highly doubt we'll get anything faster than that throughout the entirety of the tournament. Break it down, Lizard, you called it.
I was just BSing. It's my job. It's the work of the panel is fill the time. But yeah, when you look at these heroes, Dragon Knight and Razor and Enchantress, you know what it's all about. It's tempo. It even looks like back in the day, the snowball meta when you would end the game 13 minutes in. That's what it reminisced of, and that's why I said the things that I say. Plus, NIGMA moved in mid lane even faster. I said 8 to 15 minute mark. They started grouping up at 6:30. So a minute and a half faster than average even.
Wow. That was insane. That 6-minute move, really. They bring in the Jug to try to get a kill, and he dies. And they lose 3 heroes, they lose their tower. That was, I think, the fastest Blink Dagger we've seen on an offlane hero in the entire tournament too. MC getting one at, like 10 minutes, I think, maybe even earlier than that. It was a complete smackdown.
Yeah, it was an absolute click. Now, keep in mind, these are the two teams that have by far looked the best. Vici still looking like one of the best teams in the group, but NIGMA going to be coming out and showing absolute dominance here. And it is big if they can 2-0 in this one, because it's going to put them just so far away from all of the other squads. The only hiccup that they really had was against TNC, right? Losing, dropping 2 to TNC is definitely the blemish on their record. But as we do look at this first game, we talked about the parallels between these two squads. Having that early collapse, Team NIGMA able to do it even earlier than Vici, and they're just able to snowball that and close it out quickly. What do you think's going through Vici's mind right now, Bob?
They got to be less greedy, probably. I think Lacoste touched it at the end of the cast there. He goes, they've got Midas. They've got Battle Fury Jug and Midas Doom. Yeah. NIGMA probably saw this. They're like, you know what? Let's just go high. Let's just end the game.
No,
we're not going to give them any time to farm, give them any time to space.
It's also because no one expects you to end the game. No one expects you to try and rush that high ground this early on, right? That's the reason why we see Doom going for Midas after Midas. Every single game, it's Midas' first item. And it's not punished. Why? Because everyone is taking this slower approach. NIGMA just stepped up the tempo and ended them.
That was insane. Making completely sure that it's time to actually close out on the objectives. But when we do look to BSJ a little bit earlier was like, I think Vici is the best team at scaling. So maybe resting a little bit on their laurels there, expecting that can be the game plan in pretty much every single one of these series. And NIGMA just going to test that right out of the gates. I want to talk about the Rubik though.
He owned.
Yeah, you said that you hate the Rubik, right?
Oh, that's not true. I said I love Rubik, but for some reason he always sucks
right
in
now.
pro
I
game.
said right now you hate the Rubik.
He dominated. He just had he had a little bit of an easier performance because I think Kuroki set the tempo really well with the Miracle, but the top lane they dominated Old 11. I looked and I was like, wait, why does Old 11 have 2,900 net worth? And he was safe lane versus a DK Rubik. He got literally nothing. They just smashed him.
They were trying some tri-lanes as well, trying to mess lanes up. It didn't work out at all for Vici Gaming. I also don't like Jug. This is something, I said before. I don't like Jug. I don't like him after this game. I actually don't like the Battle Fury build as well. It allows you to scale, but I feel like the only way to make Jug work is if you go early game, at least Maelstrom, right? So you can farm, you have farming efficiency, and you can fight with it.
There's a reason I bowed to him at the start.
Right. Well, let's talk about trajectory, because pretty much all of the teams have been bowing down to Team NIGMA at this point. And you were the one who said it before we even started, Fog. This is a team that it has felt like they've continued to get better. You feel like they're finding their identity even more now in groups. And Vici, who looked very good out of wild cards and now into groups, you said that you haven't felt that as much. It seems like they're pretty much in the same place that they were really at in the wild cards.
Yeah, and I think this draft kind of says all of it, right? I don't think they adapted so much to what NIGMA was bringing out with the draft. They went for their usual heroes. They went for their usual kind of style, and it just didn't work at all. They didn't even get to play the game because it was over at 7 minutes. So I think they really need to start looking to adapt a little bit better versus what NIGMA's doing and the pace that NIGMA sets in the games. I think that's what everybody's talking about. Just pace, tempo, speed. You need to find some type of solution.
it's hard to play if someone else is dictating the pace of the game and how it's going to be played. Even if you have a general idea of what you should be doing, if they do it faster, we were talking about this just earlier in the shuttle, you can't adapt to it. They crush you before you realize your plan.
This is just such a good litmus test, though, if you are a Team NIGMA fan, because when we watched the wild card, it was a split. It was one of those splits too, where you're like, "Wow, these teams are fantastic. That was great, Dota," and you walk away from it. It was not a game like that. It was not an absolute clinic being run on the other team. So, is this going to show us the straight up progression that Team NIGMA's already had inside of this tournament? Potentially. Now we have to get down to the second game. Vici not going to be one of those teams that's just going to be able to just roll over after this happens. We're going to be looking for those tweaks once we actually do get into the draft. So, you're saying you want to see them be less greedy.
Less greedy, perhaps throw the Knicks out. This could be something that might just not work versus the group up mentality, as I was mentioning, versus DK. DK likes to play group up his team. He doesn't care. Nyx Assassin does absolutely. Like before last patch, when he had a break mechanic, then it made a little bit of a difference. But this hero just makes your team play completely together, the DK, and the Nyx Assassin makes your team want to play more separate, look for these pickoffs. Just didn't happen. They didn't get to that point because the game was over.
Nyx Assassin might be this thing that's left over from the Chinese season and their region. Nyx worked wonders in the region itself, but the heroes that were picked up were different. You would see Lesh, you would see Storm, you would see all these mid laners that really suffer against Nyx's mana burn, if nothing else. And that made him powerful. You would always have a target, you would always have a hero that you're able to completely delete from the game, plus the pace was nowhere near as fast as you just said.
Yeah. I think they need to also switch. There's better lanes. I think that's going to be an easy thing, a small, easy step to at least try to counteract NIGMA's aggression. Fix your lanes. Because they went for, like you said, like this aggro tri-lane that kind of ruined the game for them. The Jug TP's mid, and this is, the reason I went for them is because I thought the Jug could TP mid and fight back versus the Razor, but he TP's mid, and he's level 5 at 6.5 minutes. Yeah. He dies. If he's a safe lane Jug, he will be 6, he will have Omni Slash to perhaps go for some type of kill, some type of fight back, but because they tri-lane, they're splitting experience, it doesn't end up working the same way. So just better lanes so you can actually fight back.
I do want to go back to the Knicks for just a little bit though as well, because I think it's kind of cool to hear that you think it might be almost a vestigial organ that's left over from what we saw in the leagues. Well, what's that face?
Nothing. I like that word.
5 seconds.
I was actually searching for it, but
the NA education.
Really
coming through right now. But yeah, a little bit of a hangover from what we saw in the DPC season. Do you think that we might see less Knicks as we maybe even get into that playoff bracket?
Yep. If you think about the statistics, it's been one of the most contested heroes, mostly because of Vici Gaming and they played wildcards, right? So the data is obviously skewed a little bit, but Nyx Assassin and Broodmother were banned versus them all the time. We saw actually NIGMA ban out that Brood in the first game here, but they left the Nyx out, so they obviously don't think it's a problem. I feel like they might leave Nyx once again and just play against it. If they play the same way, same tempo, group up strategy, Nyx has nothing to do in a game such as this one. Like, you just can't utilize the hero.
A little bit earlier in the day, first series of the day, one of the big things, it was Vici versus Beast Coast. Vici was able to take that one swiftly. It's actually funny. They were basically able to dish out the treatment that they just got, but against Beast Coast. And when we saw that, we were talking a lot about whether or not they were the best team from their region. And I want to put a little bit of attention on that as we start to look at these bans. Fog's already getting interested. What's catching
They're going to take the Mars. That's what I was about to say. They ban the Enchantress because they can take the Mars. Now it's the NIGMA. Do you want to go for your DK that you've been running every single game? My Control's played, 2 heroes at this tournament, I believe? Mars and DK? Did he play anything else?
Not sure. Maybe one more hero. But that's pretty much.
That's pretty much all he's played.
Meanwhile, Vici Gaming also loves the Mars. They love this hero, and the way they play around it is old school Mars gameplay. Just get a lot of teamfight around it. So we might see Snapfire, we might see Phoenix, we might see all these heroes that really benefit from the arena to set up the teamfight.
Mia Willow.
Yeah, Willow.
Willow. Yeah.
Of course, we were letting you say that one.
Yeah, that's my favorite combo in the game. Mars Reska.
And there they go.
They go.
Davion.
You ban out Hiroki's Enchantress, he takes his Lion, they get the DK, which is still can always be a flex, but I think that it's 100% going to be mind control.
The Lion opener is very interesting, right? Like, you don't really see it that often.
Yeah, we saw it versus, I actually saw it versus the Mars one of the times where the Mars runs in and then just gets hexed, and he doesn't get any spells off inside of his combo too, so Lion's definitely on the rise.
And it does ruin a lot of your mid heroes that you do want to play on Ori.
It might be a snatch from Vici Gaming because they love Lion. Like the CN teams overall just love Lion. It's one of the most played heroes. I think the most played hero together with Mars.
And gotta be Kyle right here a little bit, right? Stuns. You've got stuns. Nigma's always going to have that reliable type of disabled, no matter what the mid hero is, which Ori likes to play his Storms, his Void Spirits, etc. They're going to have the lockdown for it.
Is TA an option? Because we're seeing a lot of TA. In the last game it was also banned out. But maybe not first
VG Gaming's turn to ban.
Yeah, maybe not. They're going to go for the Willow.
Yeah.
Good high magic damage, so that's something that DK can be vulnerable versus at times, once you do get that 6, and the combo is just there. So this already looks like they should be able to fight back around that early push, unless they're not level 6 yet. So
I do want to talk about the TA just a little bit more. How have you guys been feeling with TA overall throughout the tournament? Coming into it, it was one of the things everybody was talking about so much. It was, hey, you need to know how to beat TA, or you need to find a way to get it into your draft. Do you guys still feel that way?
I still feel like the hero is really strong. I've seen it still played in pubs quite a bit by all the players that are here in Europe. So I really do think that TA is still strong. I think we'll see more of her.
Yeah, I think she's still pretty. She's still pretty busted. It's just now she's prioritized so highly in the first 2, and so many teams are showing answers to it that if you do first 2 it, you have to use your 3 bans to cover the TA. Otherwise, you're gonna get razors. You're gonna get exactly. You're gonna get countered up inside that mid match.
So you do feel like those counters, they do exist now. I feel like before we really got through wildcards, it was like, do we know what those counters really are? And the Razor definitely coming into play a whole bunch against it.
I think also carries such as PL, Terrorblade, these heroes that have multiple instances of damage sources, right? They are probably the strongest.
And EV's gotten really popular.
Yeah, but TA is out, so is Void, banned out by Team NIGMA. Meanwhile, Vici Gaming with the Ursa. Interesting. I thought they might get the Ursa even. Can be hard versus Lion, I guess. A lot of control.
10 seconds remaining.
So far, the name of the game was ban out all the carries.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's how we ended up with a jug in game number 1. So it looks like that's still the line of play that they're going for here, is they do ban out now Puck.
I like the Puck ban because they have. The other team has a DK and a Lion. You don't want to play Puck, but you're vulnerable to the Puck because you don't have instant type of disables on your side. And it's a Miracle Special. Spectre.
Yeah. Something that both of these teams have played quite a bit.
And NIGMA doesn't play it like your typical Spectre, in my opinion. They play very aggressive with the Haunt early. They like to play that quick 5-man collapse, same kind of style. Use the Haunt to jump in and have that extra hero.
And Elder Titan.
Woo! Fast track.
And Phoenix instantly afterwards, okay. So they pick up the Elder Titan, meanwhile Team NIGMA, they just go with some more team fight. Like this Phoenix definitely helps with that. It gives some AoE damage versus Dark Willow too, which is nice. Not one single of these 3 heroes threatens Phoenix and his egg. I guess Dark Willow is a little bit alright, but nothing special.
We shouldn't have a 15-minute game is what I'm seeing right now too.
Yeah.
This looks like a more of a later type of strategy from Team NIGMA. Even though they have the DK, which does assert that early tower push on towers, there are ways for Vici to just defend easier from a distance now. They have this Elder Titan who just throws your spirit, you stomp, you slow down the push quite a bit. Phoenix is nice here though. I like that Phoenix, and it's a GH Phoenix.
Lifestealer, that's it.
Lifestealer.
Why are you liking Lifestealer here, Lizard?
I just couldn't see a different hero. I'm trying to think about all the carries that they could pick that work versus Dragonite and also versus Spectre, and I couldn't find anything. So Lifestealer is also a hero that we don't see a lot, but we don't see him because he's always banned out under the right circumstances. Every game in which Lifestealer is good, he gets banned. You don't see him, but the hero is actually still legit. Brings up the tempo. We might see some Lifestealer carrier coming from that mid lane as well. Some hero that can actually get him close into the fight on top of that Spectre. Obviously, Infest isn't used that way as much as before, but it can be.
How do you feel about the Death Prophet even for Vici? Because a lot of it's banned. I was about to say, like, the Death Prophet looks really hot with their lineup, but
Vici Gaming.
They read it as well.
Yeah.
Storm Spirit, right? Like a carrier for okay.
Lina for the egg hitter.
Also
then it's
really good.
Lane.
A bit problematic though when Spectre haunts, gets on top of you very easily, right? But we've seen Lina in the CN region just pop off. This hero has been
10
bucked many
seconds
times. And position for Lina is good, we've seen it I believe today. But mid lane
5
Lina as
seconds
well, when you
remaining.
have something like a Mars Arena, when you have something like Chronosphere, dishes out a ton of damage.
And it's a safe last pick for your mid when you don't see the opposing mid. You're gonna have a good mid matchup like 90% of the time. TA's banned, so that's like the usual big counter matchup versus the Lina.
But even TA in the lane, it's not that good.
not
Later on, yeah. Is there something amazing versus Lina that you can pick? I don't think so. Like you said, it's just a safe pick.
Very safe pick, but now it's on Team NIGMA to round out this draft after a dominant win.
They probably want something that's still good versus Lifestealer, because right now their draft is a bit tough to play versus just the Rage in general, unless they get the initial Hex from the Lion. And most of those Miracle Heroes are still taken out. They put in a lot of focus on him. The Puck, the Razor, the Invoker.
Timbersaw!
Choose your hero.
Ooh, so they're switching it up. DK's back to mid, probably, and then it's a Timbersaw off lane to try to offset the Lifestealer a bit.
I guess, yeah. You still don't care if you're Lina, right? And I feel like they do have enough damage to take down the Timber. You have Elder Titan as well to buff up all your magic damage.
How are you feeling about the Timber?
No, not sure. I feel like they needed something different. They couldn't find the right hero for the mid lane, so they opted to just put the DK who's not gonna lose, put him mid, and then put the Timber offlane who's also not gonna lose. Because eventually, if the Spectre gets fat enough, she can the Lina on her own. But my problem still is the tempo from Vici Gaming might be just good enough to win the game. Hard to call this one. The first one I was just slightly favoring NIGMA. This time around, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Timber last pick. There's a lot of magic damage.
Yeah.
ET,
Dark
Aura,
ET,
Willow, Lina.
yeah.
It does make it a lot harder. I do think there's a lot of different ways that NIGMA can take these big team fights and collapse a bit faster and outnumber in particular because of that Spectre haunt with the egg. But I do like this Vici. I love the Chinese Lina lately. I think that they're so strong with their item build, this BKB rush with bots. He's just going to be the egg killer every time, and I don't really see good ways for them to protect that egg unless they get the initial jump on the side of NIGMA. They do have some chances, but I do see a much better chance of Vici being able to fight back and getting an advantage going into later.
Yeah, I'm sold Vici as well.
All right, well, I think regardless, it's shaping up to be a very different game, too. Keep in mind, this is the battle of the best right now. Are we going to see Team NIGMA able to take both, or is Vici going to strike back?
Muy bien, los chiquitos.
EA player, I don't think so.
Yeah, quite interesting that NIGMA's starting to really prioritize this Dragonite as well, having that flexibility between mid and off lane as they had it Monk Control previously. Looks like heading into mid this time around, right, Lacoste?
Yeah, the Dragonite is going to be played at the mid lane, off lane Timbersaw. It looked really good for Phoenix. First 3 picks in, Dark Willow, Mars, and ET. These heroes don't deal well with the egg, and then suddenly Lina plus a Lifestealer. GH is, you know, very good. Very good is 4 out of 5. He's excellent, extraordinary on the Phoenix. So I want to see how he's going to be placing those eggs. It's not going to be easy. They have good ways of also like protecting, zoning people out with the Mars, with the ET ulti.
Terrorize as well.
Yeah, as well on top of it. I'm also worried, like, who gets the first jump? I think that's gonna be pretty much the story of the mid game. Like, if they are able to jump lean, kill the Dark Willow potentially, and then be able to, because they have no BKB piercing abilities. Lina with the build that panel talked about, she goes Yule Scepter BKB bots into damage item, and then there's nothing that can stop her from hitting the egg.
So then you need that, like, Abyssal Blade Spectre or something along those lines to try and catch her
Yeah,
out.
we're talking about the late game. Abyssal Spectre potentially. It's gonna take a while until she gets there. No real steroids in this game. So, yeah. Nothing to buff her up, actually.
Well, Phoenix's Courier, yeah, bringing out a smoke and a sentry, so it feels like he knows where one of these wards are. Try and get that dewarding game started. Miracle in that mid lane up against Ori. DK versus Lina. I think very often Melee versus range matchups, melee versus melee matchups.
And we see this
farm trading
more often. Just position 5 being played on the off lane if the matchup is better. Because otherwise, if it's a Phoenix plus a Timbersaw, ET just gets a complete free lane. This time around, he can be stopped, he can be killed. DY dropping very low at the top lane already, does not have a healing salve, so he's gonna have to be very careful.
Yeah, just boots first into the tangos, right? And a courier snipe as well for Kuroki. Might find the second one. Nope. Gets herself back to the tier 2 tower safely. Dangerous times for Vici Gaming already. As like you say, the lane swaps here, putting that line top feels pretty good. And having Phoenix as that almost saving hero with a Sunray and the Fiery Spirits to stop aggression from Vici Gaming bottom will keep the Spectre safe and sound, at least in the first couple of levels.
When you play that position 4 at the safe lane, you still need to bring healing cells for your Spectre to be able to keep her sustained. I also want to see if he gets an earlier points, maybe in a Sunray, doesn't prioritize Fire Spirits in this lane, just to be able to heal up the Spectre when they decide to go aggressively on her. Mid lane, Lina against the Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight is doing well. I think both of the heroes are gonna farm. Miracle this time around bringing an earlier bottle just to keep them sustained. Like it's not enough because Lina can keep the Light Strike array going, get that Fiery Soul stacks up, and then keep right-clicking you.
Yeah, well, the right-click's doing a limited job there against Miracle, especially with that Breathe Fire. And Rune's coming up though. Need the bottle refill for both of those mid laners. And Kuroki just a little too slow on his rotation up towards the top spot. Will not stop Ori there. It looks like GH going to try and manipulate this bottom lane a little better. Pull across to the small camp. Force PYW into more forward position as they've also pulled across into large camp. And that sentry there is actually going to be used to block up that poor spot, not to de-ward or anything like that. But for Vici Gaming down bottom, it's going to be, what, level 3, where we really see that burst of aggression. Get their spells going.
Yeah, I kind of expect Dark Willow to get a point in the Curse Craft. So it's another way of keeping them in place. It's a good setup for a spear back on top of it, and now they denied some of the creeps. Big camp is blocked, so nicely done Dark Willow. If they want to keep pulling, needs to bring a sentry, and she buys it straight away.
Yeah, we'll be able to de-ward that. LTW though, struggling a little bit with the CS, as is the Timbersaw top lane, 11-2, 11-1.
Apparently it doesn't matter. We've seen the previous game where he had 2 deaths in 4 minutes and then just went to jungle. NIGMA pretty much playing the game 4 versus 5. He joins in, gets a couple of right clicks.
Kills the barracks. Yeah, we're set up nicely here with that stomp. Fortunately, Ponyo a real way to stick on to Kuroki, so it's down to DY to dive under tower. Ballsy move there from the ET. Takes a fair few tower shots on its way back. And this means Mind Control can securely contest the pull and farm up that wave. Much better though from Vici Gaming across the board. Every one of their cores farming incredibly well. Getting up to that 20 CS mark in 4 minutes in, feeling good for themselves. Attempting to clear through that little camp down bottom.
Yep. Chinese players, what they tend to do when they're playing against the Timbersaw, mostly it was Troll against Timber, they get an earlier Javelin, just to have that a bit more damage, a bit more magical damage. Lifestealer this time around going for Phase Boot straight away.
Okay.
Maybe he wants to just get on top of a Lion and be able to kill him.
What's the build going to be from Poyo this game? Is it like Armlet? Do we still want to see that Javelin?
I would prefer Maelstrom. You're playing into Timbersaw, you're playing into Dragon Knight. But it might be both. I wouldn't mind seeing both. Like Armlet gives you that cheap damage, gives you that survivability.
Because it feels like that's one of the reasons they picked him, right? Is the ability to play fast against a Spectre. You match up quite nicely in the first 20 minutes with your itemization. And Miracle putting a bit of damage onto Ori. Fast done, really starting to take the Lina mid. But a dead even farm trade between the two of them so far. As RTW also dodging away from any kind of aggression bottom, and a complete different game. No one's died 5 minutes in. No real attempts or kill threat coming from any of these lanes from any of the teams.
A bit of a slow start. We do not want to end this one in 15 minutes again.
Yeah, one third of the game has already passed.
There's no way that they win in 20 minutes. There's just not enough tower damage. Dragonite is some, but the other heroes don't deal that well. Miracle. Rocky stabbing from the back.
Yeah, he comes in. Good. Chain stun onto DY. PYW with the Bramble Maze. DY trying to slip away, and it looks like he might just do the job. Miracle turns onto PYW now, but GH picks up the kill. Drives himself forward, slays the Elder Titan on first blood, 6 minutes in.
Ori has that Laguna, but not in range.
And they've got a catapult mid still pushing forward. Regenerate spawns bottom. Dragon Tail into LSA, the move forward, and Kuro again the backstab, wraps around onto Lina, stuns her up, half HP, Laguna Blade blasts Kuro. Miracle can't get the job finished, so Lina slips out of there.
Kuro was saving the regen rune as well for the Dragonite, so he has that mana regen and HP. It's not like he needs that HP regen, but yeah, they managed to blast him. Good kill. How's 11 doing? We didn't talk too much about him this game. 35 CS, 13 denies. It seems like old 11, whenever he plays Mario, he tends to get a good farm, but
1v3 though.
Doesn't look too good.
RTW chasing through the trees, dagger forward, and Kuroki secures the kill. Good rotation again from these two supports. I mean, Kuro, you know, starting top. Timbersaw, once he hits level 3, 4, 5, you just say, oh, you're on your own now, mate. You go and get your solo experience. That allows Kuro to move across this map so freely.
Kuro's line has been impressive so far this major. Like the games that I watched, he's pretty much always popping up, being able to get a good timing on a blink dagger, controlling the spirits in a couple of games that I saw, positioning on point, makes these early rotations, gets a D ward on top of it.
Putting that pressure onto Vici Gaming. And what's the next move from Vici? Because they're going to have Arena soon. And we'd like to see this old 11 Mars hit 6 and go for an immediate play. Could think about it onto the Spectre. Probably needs a bit of backup. As the clash of supports a little further back. I mean, diving in, old 11
tower is under attack.
Doesn't care too much about GH Phoenix. Yeah, Kuro spotted out by PYW there as they did attempt another move into bot lane.
Old 11, Arena, as you mentioned, ready. Not sure if they have enough damage to bring down Spectre. It's the 2-point in dispersion, raindrop, plus some magic wand charges that he will collect. I don't think it's going to be enough. Ori?
Stunned up, yeah, you're right. Under this tower mid lane, Light Striker Race coming out.
No, doesn't dodge it.
Good attempt from Miracle, but Ori, he knew exactly what he was going to get up to. Miracle still keeps the damage going on this tower, though.
Dire structures are fortified.
Forcing a glyph out, and now, once again, as in previous game, you have this rotation to the mid lane, you have Timber.
Hold on, Lina!
Is under attack.
Spectre can't do it. Walks back down to bottom lane.
Just kidding, Haunt, 3 minutes. Cooldown on the ability, doesn't get anything out of it. But yeah, it's all about that pressure. Open up the map, kill the tier 1 tower on the mid lane, and we can see the top lane, mind control, putting that pressure. Going into Hood, understands that there's a ton of magical damage, just wants to be able to protect himself.
Yeah, like Lifestealer's farming, sure, but mind control is out farming him, and he's way more comfortable in doing so. Like Poyo here is having to cut waves, he's running around, and Kuroki's positioning very nice, tight to that tree line, looking for the jump on Lifestealer.
They can burst him.
They can, but he's infested into a creep and he's run away. Back into jungle he goes. And NIGMA start to build this lead again. That ability to have these two tanky strength cores, get out of the laning stage and put the emphasis on to that mid game where they can play the map. And RTW sits back in the jungle, farming away. Not going to go for the blade mail build, which
no,
it's a couple of times.
Yeah, it's still a good blade mail game. Probably going to commit to Echo Saber, but it's really good blade mail game against the Dark Willow, against the ET, even Lina. The right clicks, the damage output is insane inside the Mars Arena. Echo Saber's great. Like this is a new hybrid type of a build. Gives you a bit of a mana regen, damage. Sustain, gives you that tankiness, and the double hit. Like double hit later on with the Desolate, it's ton of damage.
I feel like Miracle is at every single active room. Yeah, the regen, he had the illusion, he's got an arcane now.
5 minutes until the game ends, just kidding. It only happened in game number 1.
You never know. You never know. NIGMA's ability to ramp up that aggression very quickly comes almost out of nowhere, making team fights materialize out of thin air. Point, top is being danced upon by mind control. This Timber Sword, not a fear in the world.
GH on the bottom, collecting some experience, just got level 6. So Supernova is available.
And Kuroki making another sneaky move top. Again, trying to play the tree line, gets the stun, not quite enough damage there. The pretty hefty wand that Poyo had. The big stick makes sure that he's perfectly fine. But that's the thing, NIGMA is so smooth, it's so comfortable. You got to think about the mentality of the teams and the players as well. Comfort, experience definitely comes into play in a lot of these laning stage situations.
They feel very comfortable farming right now. Dragonite getting closer to his blink. Timbersaw already has that hood. Lion a bit under leveled. Level 4 has a
top tower is under
keeping
attack.
it for now. But we'll pop it once to get that finger online. The damage burst that they need to kill the Lifestealer. Lifestealer, what is he bringing? He's bringing Blades of Attack. This time around, not going for any shenanigans, no Battle Furies. Just wants to get some cheap damage going into Armlet.
Yeah, go those early game items. And Mind Control moves away from that top lane in towards mid. Puts his big body in the way of Vici Gaming, and they throw the kitchen sink at him. The Bedlam Laguna Blade. There we go. PYW gets the takedown on Timbersaw. It took a lot though.
It's level 1 aura from ET. Still base resistance 40%. Big numbers.
Yeah, absolutely is. That Timbersaw still tanky though.
A bit of a slower start. Surprised 11 is not committing to get the coin.
Another ring for Miracle, and the Hort in. Supernova thrown on top. In a good terrorize though, sends the DK packing, but they've got Kuroki backstabbing onto that. Dark Willow there, excellent stun. DY's also being focused down by the Phoenix and the Spectre. Old 11's arrived. He's got no teammates to back him up. They're going to have another catch here. Old 11's burnt by the Sun Ray. Miracle with the DV and still going in. The dagger forward, but a great spear. Pushes NIGMA back, saves the Mars for now.
Top tower is under
They can
attack.
TP out. They can just TP out of the lanes. They got what they came for. A couple of good kills. Nice usage of the Haunt this time around. They actually get 3 kills. And Kuroki still saving a finger. If someone shows up, they have so much control.
They've got mind control as well.
That's triple control.
Huge amounts of control. A Miracle. Or do they see DY there? They don't get on top of him. Now he's hiding, hugging the trees, hugging that little cliff top. Vici Gaming moving forward aggressively in towards GH. Old 11 unable to find any kind of an ulti or spear. And now Miracle with a spirit on him. Vici collapsing towards the DK, blinks away. And all of a sudden Vici have brought numbers down here to no
Radiant's
avail.
bottom tower is under attack.
Elena finally finishing her item. The Voidstone will about to be delivered, so that's a good setup for LSA. And also a save, can dispel Fiery Spirits, can cancel the TPs on top of it. Unfortunately does not have the old Scepter. If they get Spectre there, would have been a pretty big kill.
It would have been huge for them. And Miracle really just dictating exactly where his team needs to be. Follow me. I'm a big tanky Dragonite with a blink dagger. If I jump stun someone, you better be there to combo up with me.
Again, 3 cores that are very hard to burst down. Your offlaner, he gets a hood. Mid laner is a strength hero that has insane amount of strength gain per level.
And that's a catch.
On top of the armor. So how do you, when you have a lineup like this and you go from the laning stage, what?
Do Vici want to fight this without a Lifestealer?
Not a Timbersaw.
They're going on a Timbersaw. Now the turnaround jump with a Supernova. They're in the arena, but the leader, she's nearly dead. A bit of a warp charge down the ult into the air. Miracle still standing strong. GH down though, the egg was focused. Miracle needs to get out now. Mind control, looking for the turnaround. Back onto DY. Blows through the ET. Ultimate PYW. They're stunned at Miracle. It's still alive. Kuro's finger secures the 5-man wipe for NIGMA.
Even after killing the egg, which was a good egg on top of it, like they still make the full team vibe. Other heroes, other than Lina, if Lifestealer's not there ready to focus the egg, they don't have enough attack speed. And right now, before the BKBs, they're the kings of the game because they get the first jump. We're gonna see the jump again. Like Terrorize was good on point, and then you have Breathe Fire on a couple of heroes.
They spend so long on the egg.
Timbersaw, he doesn't die. Like, you can't really focus. They lack damage. If they want to kill one hero, they need to bring one extra one, considering how much strength these heroes get.
And that all started with the Lifestealer kill, right? It was one kill, then into the 4-man rotation of VG Gaming. And this game slipping out of their hands. 6k net worth lead for Team NIGMA. Starting to ramp up really quickly. The fake exponential growth there, Lacoste.
Oh, you talked to me about the exponential growth the other day. Like, there is a real one that's, you know, mathematically correct, and then there's the one that people use.
There's a literal one, the mathematical one, and there's the kind of literary one, the common use in English language one. And it's like when people say he's literally unkillable, and then he dies. They didn't really mean literally.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's more of a meme, literally unkillable, when Ice Frog gives a hero 1 armor.
Plus 1 armor, yeah.
Most of the time it's Darkseer.
Well, there's Vacuum, yeah. And who got it? Was the Storm first, wasn't it? Storm with a +1 armor, then Doom got his from -0.5 to +0.5. And now he's got tons of armor on the Doombringer. And VG Gaming on the back foot, getting jumped. Initiation. It's just inevitable from Team NIGMA. Poyo down again, and this is VG Gaming crumbling. Completely unexpected as Team NIGMA just keep running at them. Ori will be able to get back towards his high ground, but he earned a Sunray Fire Spirit damage at a time. The jump in from Miracle. Here's Mind Control as well. A killing spree for Timbersaw. They're all falling to pieces.
I'm getting the flashback. 16 minutes in, they are diving near the tier 3 towers. So tanky. Dragonite just jumped in. Good Supernova and investing in all of these small items. Dragonite
They're going again. They're on this high ground by the tier 4. They've got the kill on old Levin. He chucks his arena out, but I don't know, man. That's not going to help you whatsoever.
But you're trying to get a kill. It's not enough. This is a level 10 Phoenix with the Bracer and Vitality Booster.
There's a TP out. He's trying. Back home we go for the Dark Willow.
It seems like one team is playing at 0.5 speed, while the other team is just playing at normal Dota.
Oh, because you know what?
What?
Oh, Kuroki's dead there. I forgot LTP was in this game. But this is a spectre for NIGMA. They've still got this late game security plan in Mind Control. After losing Kuroki here, Timber chaining himself away. Will be able to get back into that river area.
Dragonite plus Timbersaw. These heroes come online so quickly and become so tanky that you cannot kill them. Like, they itemize in small items that we discussed. Soul Ring gives you tankiness, Magic Wand, you have a Hood, now full Kaya and Sanj on Timber.
You did make a pretty good point, though, you know, through this series.
Oh, did I?
The vision game and getting the jump, the ability to be that first actor, the one making the first step, the catch, the stun, the kill. So far, it has been NIGMA making that jump every single time. And Lifestealer, he's really been struggling to do anything because he's just been dead for a lot of the time. When do you see VG Gaming doing something on their own terms?
They have a blink on Mars, so they could potentially make a good spear play into tier 2 tower, follow it up with LSA. Lina deals ton of damage, getting closer to BKB this time around. It's really not necessary to get bots, considering the situation they're in. 8k gold lead already for NIGMA, and let's see if they make the play. ET, Stomp.
Miracle is very tanky though. Back to spear. Miracle on the tier 2. Down to about a quarter of his HP, and they have got the burst down. He's breaking through the Dragon Knight and picking up his mega kill streak. Kuroki now next on the docket for them. Can they get back towards this Kuro line? Good blink, bad spear. Kuroki turns. He's got some stuns and a finger of death. Down goes old Lavender while Poyo died in the tier 1 tower. What's the line? But a TP out will successfully get him home and safe. Meanwhile, doesn't go with Laguna Blade, but he's got an egg. The focus though from Lina clears through GH.
Kuroki, he canceled the TP. Now he can come back into the fight.
And that's RTW fighting Pickoff after Pickoff. Can they get the leader now? Oh, they turn to Poyo. The Timber Chain Chakram not quite clipping. Good little dodge there from always Lina. Still though, the whirling death. Chaining in Mind Control, and RTW clean up the mess that had been made. Another huge fight for NIGMA, and yet another tier 1.
Oh, he will take it. Kuroki first getting a good figure on the Mars, getting a kill. Lifestealer tries to focus him, TP's out, fake TPs, comes back to the fight, and then they get more kills out of it.
And RTW getting to join the battles as well. Right, there's Timbersaw so far. 10k net worth, he's on 11. He's just gonna kill 11 here, it looks like. Chakramane
You're not killing this guy. He has a nether shawl.
Sod all, absolutely nothing.
Hood plus nether shawl, that brings you to, I believe, 60-something? 54, never mind. It's a 64% physical resistance. With all the armor that he gets, level 17 with Shard already. I don't know, Gary. I've seen this game before.
And they've got Roshan for themselves as well. RTW's in the pit.
Double damage.
The rest of NIGMA join up with him. And a double damage rune. Honestly, the rune control from NIGMA so far, like this one not mattering as much because they just want a team fight.
Yeah, you said it. They have stun control, they have mind control, rune control, like every... Maybe think of a control key.
Yeah, they need a few more. Need to give him some more controls.
Well,
there we go. For RTW. Good attempt at a stomp, but maybe a steal could have come on in there from Vici Gaming, but they realised no attempt could be made. DY heading down deep to get some vision. Another thing that we haven't really looked at too much is the tier 1 tower situation. There's two tier 2 standing on the dire side, and you look at all the green icons on the minimap for Radiant. Yeah, everything's still alive.
Not a single tower indeed. They need to get something. Lifestealer, Yo-Yo. SNY done. After Armlet now dealing some tower damage. 11, 2 times in a row. He decides to get a casual Ring of Health just for more region and then doesn't upgrade it straight away.
And then runs down mid lane for the rest of NIGMA to come in. Just like that one whirling death. So much damage onto a strength hero like that pre-BKB.
I see what NIGMA is doing. They're just color coordinated in terms of their heroes and the skills. You have fire coming out from the Phoenix, you have Breathe Fire from Dragon Knight, and now Flamethrower.
Yeah, they're burning egg their way through the countryside. Killing off DY's courier. So no cloak for him. And Willow with a Yule Scepter. We'll see what she can actually get involved with in this mid lane fight, because they've got to defend their lanes. Top's being shoved out by the Spectre. The rest of NIGMA here in the mid lane. Poyo cutting waves in behind them. They still have creeps alive though. And the 23 minutes this time, not 14. But they still crack open that Vici Gaming base, breach the high ground, and they're going to force Vici to come back and fight. PYW, the Chakra Flamethrower, it's nasty stuff.
He even infests just to save him. So that's not going to be available if they decide to take a fight. Mind control, he doesn't care. Maybe he should have been.
The Spirit Arena, in comes the Horn. All the 11 obliterated. Down goes MC though. The Timbersaw does fall thanks to Old 11's Arena. But in comes that Sunray Supernova, forcing Vici back and the chain starts. Catching Poyo. Double up. Miracle takes out Lifestealer. I do have buybacks here for the Mars.
He already used everything, so they will drop the barracks, could potentially go top.
They call it!
23 minutes this time.
2 games in a row, NIGMA just have their number. Vici Gaming didn't seem like they knew what was going on.
NIGMA's playing too good, like this serious. It didn't look competitive at all, but beautiful Dota coming up from NIGMA. Not too many mistakes being made. 3 cores, super tanky. Let's get them farmed. Kuroki very active early on.
I've got a sneak peek onto their whiteboard there, Lucas.
Oh, that's Enigma,
good?
Pudge, Juggernaut, Gyro, and one on the left.
Sven,
I can't see. It looks like Sven.
There's a Pikachu down there as well. They're going to pick Pikachu.
Apparently, this is how you prepare.
Oh,
this
wow.
is like you need to be good at drawing.
But genuinely, some spectacular performances there. Like laning stage look good for NIGMA. These drafts, again, that ability to kind of sack ILTW, just put him into jungle. What, 5-6 minutes into the game, give up that bot lane.
Nah, I'm just looking at that Pikachu.